many men out there who support the rights of women and bleeding people in their lives to achieve.
Support the rights of bleeding people? Back at it again, baby, and we got a feminist getting schooled by Jordan Peterson. Let's dive right on in.
I've read his book and I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. There's only one thing left to do. School of Feminists. So I'm going to the top of feminism's dominant hierarchy, Clementine Ford, best-selling author of Fight Like a Girl and Boys Will Be Boys. Do you believe that the patriarchy exists?
Obviously, yes, I do. I do believe that the patriarchy exists, and more to the point, I accept the reality of the patriarchy. For me, it's not an issue of belief or not, it's understanding that it's real.
And do you think that the patriarchy is oppressive?
Absolutely, oppressive to everybody. More superficially beneficial than not to men, but still acts in a way that oppresses them.
I don't know if you've...
Bro, is this a real video? Like, I feel like this is like an act. I don't know.
thought about this, though. How can the patriarchy be oppressive to women when it was a man who invented the tampon?
Well, you've undone my entire worldview now.
I've read it here, that's all.
It's interesting. I mean, firstly, it assumes that women or people who bled prior to the invention of the tampon had absolutely no way of dealing with their menstrual cycles. And, of course, we have all of human history to disprove that theory and the fact that we're still standing here today.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that a man invented the tampon, a man invented the pad, a man invented the birth control pill, and these are all things that only really, well, not birth control pill, but the other two only really help women. So those are men trying to help women. You know, how are they also part of the oppressing of women if they're helping them?
Yo, I hate this music that keeps playing in the background. But anyway, no answer. Face your hypocrisy.
Well, the thing is that not every single man is an active, conscious agent of the patriarchy. Of course we know that there are many men out there who support the rights of women and bleeding people in their lives to achieve.
Support the rights of bleeding people? What? That just sounds awful. Of bleeding people. I mean, I bleed too. Does that count? Like, if I cut myself, you know, I'll bleed. So, I mean, like, what do you mean? What do you mean by bleeding people?
Freedom and dignity and movement throughout the world. So it doesn't surprise me that there would be some men who have women in their lives who would be invested in making those lives easier for women. But I just want to go back to this point that actually people who bleed have been managing their menstrual cycles since the dawn of humanity. It's not so much that a man invented the sanitary pad or invented the tampon. It's that men historically have had access to spaces and to education and to industry that allows them to create certain versions of things that have already been used for thousands and thousands of years. Women have invented things too, you know.
Like?
It wasn't the pad.
Like the internet.
The problem is, though, is that if we all...
Did a woman create the internet or the concept of the internet? Who came up with the internet? Let me know.
Accept that there is an oppressive patriarchy, then we are now telling young men that you are a beneficiary of this patriarchy and it's making them feel bad. And it's, you know, and they're not feeling good and they don't want to go to university. And this is a real issue because, you know, we need men to be leading the way.
Do we?
Apparently, yes. Yes, because if the numbers of men in social sciences decreases, as they're decreasing every year, not in STEM subjects, but social sciences, then they're no longer going to be going to the top of these industries. And then in that case, where are women going to find people to marry and mate with? Because women want to mate up, men mate across and down. So if we don't have these men staying at the top, how are the women going to mate up?
Yeah, I find that true for a lot of men and women. Women tend to date up and men are over and down for the most part. I think that's true. I'm just trying to, think through life and see if I can come up with a situation or circumstance that deviated from that in any type of way. But from what I can think of, that's pretty spot on. Let me know in the comment section how you feel, though.
Well, I think maybe one of the problems that is challenging men like Jordan B Peterson and his acolytes these days is not so much
acolytes,
who women are going to
the hell does that
marry
mean?
up with or mate up with, but that more and more women are choosing not to marry and not to mate at all because they realise that these situations and these structures for them are actually not all that liberating. Not currently in the world that we live, not to mate at all because...
You realise not mating at all is the death of your own species. So, that all may sound good, but sayonara. That is the death of you and everyone else that's coming behind you. We have to mate. Simple and plain. We have to. If we want to continue the human race, that is a fact. Babies don't just spontaneously combust out of just thin air. Just woof. Oh, we've got a baby here. Oh my God. Like it just doesn't happen that way. I'm sorry. Somebody got to get their cheeks clapped. It's just what it is.
They realize that these situations and these structures for them are actually not all that liberating. Not currently in the world that we live in, where when women do marry, they end up doing the bulk of the domestic workload. They end up doing significant hours of unpaid work.
Unpaid work?
If children enter the picture, then...
Unpaid work? What does that mean? Significant hours of unpaid... You mean like cooking and cleaning? Like the stereotypical women things? Like unpaid work? Men cook and clean. Should we be paid? Maybe I need to be asking for a check. I don't know. Send your boy a care package.
Women's workload astronomically increases while men's workload decreases. It's actually not advantageous at all for women to choose to live with men in romantic partnerships. The fact that we still do it indicates to me that there's not a lot that Jordan really needs to be concerned about. This is just about maintaining men's primacy and maintaining men's position at the top of the pile. I think it seems more that what is concerning him is that men no longer have power over women.
So you would say, you would disagree with this quote then? I've watched women go through their professional careers. It's a rare woman who at the age of 30 doesn't consider having a child her primary desire. And the ones that don't, there's generally something not quite right in the way that they're constituted or looking at the world.
That sounds to me like quack psychology that is better placed in the 19th century than in the 21st century, and certainly not the kind of science that should be asserted based on a handful of observations.
Well, he says there are plenty who will just simply not admit to having this as their primary desire.
Oh, that's interesting.
George's not even there, and he calling her out.
So he's claiming to be a mind reader.
Yes.
Also a form of quack science.
Well, I think we've gotten into a space where individuals debate or get into a discussion and you have opposing sides. And so, one side simply says something just to go against the other side when they really don't actually believe it, but they have to say it because the other side believes it, or believes the opposite. Do you guys find that happening too? Do you guys see that? Do you guys catch that? Let me know.
That certainly has not been proven to have any sort of basis in reality. I mean, it's convenient, I'm sure, for Jordan B. Peterson to decide that he knows better than the women he's speaking to what they truly feel. But it's certainly not a revolutionary position for a man to take. It's certainly not something that men throughout history have not been guilty of doing. As a woman, I certainly know that I belong to a class of people whose desires and ideas and mentality about the world are consistently disclaimed by men around me. That my actual mentality or my actual emotions about things I'm not thought to be in control of them. That I need a man to define those experiences for me. And Jordan B. Peterson clearly feels able to do that, despite the fact that I'm not really sure he knows all that many women based on what he said.
He says that people say there aren't enough women in top jobs, you know, in leadership positions. And he says that's the wrong question. That's the wrong question to be asking. We should be asking, why would anyone, mostly men, want these jobs at all? Because they're not good jobs. They're stressful, and you work overtime, and, well, you get paid well. But while women leave law firms at around the age of 30 when they're all wanting kids, it's actually they're smarter because they're doing that, because they know that this is not a good job to be in. So really, women have it better off because they're the ones who are smart enough to know to leave these high-paying but very stressful jobs, and it's men who are dumb and decide to stay in them.
Yeah, it sounds like a convenient way to excuse men continuing to stay in the top echelons of society. I mean, I'd be interested.
Oh my God. He was giving women credit for being smart and not choosing money over family, and yet you try to spin it and throw it. Oh my goodness. You just can't make this stuff up, can you?
To know, he's written a book called 12 Rules for Life, in which he argues that it's actually not very smart to want to vie for these top positions. I know he certainly has an enormous following of.
I agree with him on that. To be in a top position, and you know, for example, I jokingly said, you know, maybe I should run for president because I see a lot of dumb shit going on, and I feel like it's like a lot of this stuff is common sense. Like I could be president. You know, I'm gonna call the BS when I see it. I'm gonna acknowledge the truth when I see it. Simple and plain. And a few of y'all were like, hell yeah, go for that. Yeah, do that. Definitely do it. And I was like, no. I was joking. Like, in part, it's because I know that having a top position like that comes with a hell of a lot of responsibility. Like, that's a tough job. You've got the weight of literally an entire country on you. Obviously, on a smaller scale, when you take a high position at a company, you are responsible for a lot of people. And you just have a lot of responsibilities in general. And I don't know if taking on that stress is worth the pay all the time. Maybe sometimes it is, you know, maybe the pay is just that damn good. Like, yeah, I'll be stressed a little bit, you know, nothing wrong with a little bit of stress, but the way that I see it, you should live your life and be happy. Happiness is of utmost importance. So I think that should be chosen over money. But that's just me.
Young white men around the world. I'd be interested to know if in their reading of this book and their embrace of his philosophies, if they've also decided to stop vying for the top positions in the top industries, or if they consider that to be not quite part of the 12 rules, but a rule of which they can use to excuse or to dismiss the fact that they have privilege in those positions. Oh, well, of course, I am a partner in a law firm, but, you know, it's not a very smart thing to be. I tell you what, it is certainly very smart to, in the kind of world that we live in, to be able to control your own economic future. And it is not smart as a woman, as he seems to claim. It is not the smartest thing to remove yourself from industry and to remove yourself from economic independence and rely on a man to take care of you. The divorce rates alone show that to be the case. The fact that women consistently retire with far less retirement funds than men do show that to be the case. And, you know, in Australia, where I'm from, the fastest growing group of homeless people in the country are women over the age of 65. So it doesn't seem to me to be all that smart, actually, to put ourselves in positions where we are reliant on anyone else, but least of all, a man, to take care of us.
So you're saying there's more to these rules than...
Didn't she just mention women over 65 being homeless? Why are they homeless? Obviously because they're running out of money, but would they be homeless if they had a husband still? I'm just asking. I feel like that's a legitimate question.
Just the one sentence?
I'm saying that I think life is a little bit more complicated than Jordan B Peterson has decided he's going to profit out of pretending it is.
Schooled by Jordan Peterson, and he wasn't even there. Wild, huh? Absolutely wild. Crazy. But original link will be in the description. Shout out to the Spinoff. I feel like that was a troll though. I don't know, but like something about that just was like, are they pulling my leg on this one? You know, are they fucking with me? Nonetheless, y'all let me know what you thought about the discussion. Do you feel Clementine had any good points? Let me know in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Go and join the new Discord server too. It's the first link in the description box below. I'm out.